Hello, good morning. I am Professor Uttam Banerjee, Professor of Department of Architecture and Regional Planning at IIT Kharagpur. This course I am offering for the benefit of many. Once you see the entire course, then you will understand what's the objective of this. The title of the course is Soft Skills for Business Negotiations and Marketing Strategies. Now, how am I into this? This particular course I have tailored for the benefit of many. Being an architect by profession and a professor by occupation, my entire journey for the last so many years had been very interesting, very encouraging and very learning. I thought whatever I have learned in the profession, I can always share it with you. Who are going to be benefited by this? The benefits can be derived by anybody. If you have registered for this, you will learn as a student, but you will find that there are a lot of things which I will discuss. I will draw reference to my personal experiences of others. But for prudency, what I will do, all the experiences I will take it on my shoulder, as if I have experienced this. I do not want any kind of personification unless it is highly publicized personification. If I see that there are certain examples where I have to cite some examples with a reference to specific personality, I will do that. Otherwise, I will try to avoid and take the entire onus on my shoulder in sharing the experiences when I will be discussing in small cases. Now, what is this topic about? Soft skills for business negotiation. Here in this, what happens is there are multiple things to be learned, to be understood. If you see the title, there are three segments: soft skills, business negotiations, marketing strategies. Compartmentalize it, then you will understand that if I want to go for marketing strategies which will result into the business negotiations, and for business negotiations I need to know the soft skills. So, it is just in the reverse order. I have an objective that I will have a marketing strategy. When I am playing the strategy, I am going for negotiations, and for negotiations I am using my soft skills. But to understand this field of study, I have put it in the reverse order. The entire course over 30 hours, that is 12 weeks, is totally loaded with lots of issues. Very interestingly, this particular subject is such that there is no such fixed theoretical book, neither it is intended. But we have prepared this course with a very strong research background, lots of reading and analyzing several books on marketing, negotiations, business, skills and other things. And it is, I would say, it's an endless journey we are still continuing. But in this particular course, we have tried to give a very essentials sharing with you. How would you learn it? My first request is, don't be judgmental. Just try to understand what I am sharing with you, because this knowledge is not a pure theoretical knowledge. This comes from the practice, professional experience, personal experience, the personalities that I have met, the personalities that we are dealing with every day, the kind of projects that I am doing. So, try to listen to me very carefully, attentively, and you try to understand. In case you have any questions, please do not hesitate to write it in the forum. But no arguments, no contesting, because the arguments and contesting will not lead to the actual end, because the entire 12 weeks that we will be going through, maybe many of your questions which are cropping up in your mind at this particular point is answered in somewhere in between. So I don't want to have a hop skip or hyperlinking my topics from one to another. Though I have examples, I have issues discussed, I have the intricacies discussed at different stages. Now here in this first week, we are in the first week. In the first week, my first responsibility is to give you an overview of the menu of this particular course. That means the entire structure. So it's an introduction which gives idea about the course outline. Week 1, I'll be discussing about soft skills and hard skills. Now, my topic is on soft skills, but why I'm talking about the hard skills? The reason is that since there are two kind of skill sets, if I'm talking about the soft skills, then I must at least try to make a fair distinction between the other kind of skills like hard skills. Quite often, through my experience or journey, I have seen that people get confused. People think that something which they know very well is also soft skill, or sometimes even the opposite. People who have a hard skill, they think it's a soft skill, or sometimes the soft skill which they think as a hard skill. Okay, so what I'll do is in the beginning, I will discuss a bit about the soft and hard skills. And this is a big list of skills. Initially, what I'll do is I will discuss about each skill very briefly, and later in course of my other chapters when I'll be discussing, you will find that they will be coming up forward at any point of time. So I'll not go back to the slide, but I will go back to the terminologies which I have introduced to you at this particular stage. The next week, you would expect a very interesting topic, that is non-verbal communication. We communicate through various media. We speak, we write, we look at somebody and communicate. I'm listening, I'm getting a communication. So there are many such ways, but in the non-verbal communication, I'll be focusing on primarily such kind of communications where you are really not speaking. You are avoiding speaking. In between speaking, you are making some gestures with your body parts. Those gestures which makes a lot of difference in your entire negotiation or business scenarios. It requires a very serious discussion on that. The students who are studying these subjects, the courses now, who haven't gone into the profession, for them, that particular segment is going to be very, very useful. What is the utility of that? You will be learning through that particular lecture that how should you really appear yourself in front of an interview board? How should you perform during GD, group discussions? How to enter interview board, how to exit the interview board, and how to really talk to the interviewers, how to make your points clear, how to stress on your situations, how to highlight your strengths, how to suppress your weakness. All these things we'll be discussing. So for students, I'm expecting that that particular lecture is going to be highly beneficial. But to go to that particular lecture, the soft skill, knowledge on the soft skill items is equally important. As I'm saying that, okay, it's for students, but at the same time, I can also say people who are in the marketing or sales, for them, even the second chapter, second week's discussion is going to be highly vital. Non-verbal communication. You are trying to win a project. A student is trying to get a job, and you are a salesperson. You are trying to win a project. You are a professional. You are trying to win a project. When you are trying to win that particular project, there are many things which go in between what you are speaking and what have been written on your profiles, what have been written in your proposals or expression of interests. The thing is, that particular chapter I consider as one of the very, very vital one. If you pay attention to that particular chapter in the week 2, then what will happen is you will find it very comfortable when I'll talk about the other parts of it. The next set, basically it has been divided in multiple sets of our entire course of study. The next set, week 3, I intend to cover everything about negotiations. But negotiations is a big domain. In that particular domain, what happens is you have to go through multiple such processes. There are tricks, there are tips, there are threads, there are ways of doing it, and also there are tactics of doing it. All these I'll discuss. When we talk about the negotiations, if I really try to classify, there are professional negotiations. That means you are a professional and you are negotiating. But frankly speaking, throughout our life, right from our childhood till our death, we are negotiating. Every time we are negotiating with everybody else for getting a benefit, for deriving a benefit, to giving a benefit, to protect ourselves, to be defensive, sometimes to be offensive. So every time we are negotiating. So the negotiations is a generic terminology which is applicable to everybody, anytime. Only thing is, what you don't do is you don't negotiate with yourself, because you are a self. You cannot fight it with yourself. But sometimes even you do. If you are under duress, if you are under mental stress, if you are on an uncertainty, if you are on an indecisive mode, then in such cases probably negotiating with yourself may be very beneficial. I might talk about this later. There is another, business negotiation. See, the professional negotiation is the professionals are negotiating. And in the business negotiation, it's a trading or it's a give and take in such. And product marketing negotiation means you have a product which you're trying to market, which you're trying to sell, and now you're negotiating. Things are not same. And when you will be going through the non-verbal communication, at that time only I'll give you certain hints. And such hints I will draw back every time when I'll be talking about all these kind of negotiations. And negotiation for services. What happens is everybody thinks that we do, we deliver. We deliver what? Somebody who got a job, he delivers his labor. Skilled, semi-skilled, unskilled labor is delivering the labor. Okay, fine. But the thing is, in the business negotiation, what you're doing, that you are trying to do a trading. You are trying to exchange something in exchange of something. Okay? And in the product marketing negotiation, what you are doing, in the product marketing negotiation, you have developed a product. You have manufactured it. Now you have to market it so that people buy and people possess it. If people buy, then there will be more demands. If there are more demands, then you are going to produce more. And if you are producing more, you are going to make more profit. So every time, every negotiation has a different kind of, a tone in it, different kind of flair in it. And in negotiation for services is when you are giving your services to somebody, whatever. One thing keep in mind, that when you are in business, now people say business, I have heard many people saying, oh, you are a businessman, as if I am something wrong. People consider business in a very loose terms. They think that business means, okay, he is trying to get something from me. He is trying to trade something against my money. And everybody considers that, okay, he is trying to get a benefit, depriving me. So the business in general, in common people's mind, is usually negative. But I consider is not at all. No, business is not negative. Business is the work. Business is the job that you are doing. You have used this term, the proverb, mind your own business, mind your own business. They say, what do you mean by mind your own business? Is it that what business you are running? No. Mind your own business means what you are doing, do. And let me do what I am doing. So mind your own business, don't interfere in my business. That means I have a job I am doing, you have a job you are doing. So don't mix it up. So such things are going to be discussed in this. In the third bundle, I'll discuss about marketing. So what happens is, and then in the marketing strategy, say whenever you are marketing, that means you have product, you have your services, you have your skill which you are trying to market. Let me give an example, very quick example now, later on I'll detail it out. A student, when he is going for interview, is he marketing? People will say, no, he is not marketing. Then who does the marketing? The marketing is, anybody will say the marketing is being done by a person who is trying to sell his product. Who said it? The student who spent 4 years in engineering, or 5 years in engineering and other subjects, or say 7 years in masters and okay 10 years in UG, PG and PhD, has earned knowledge. For what? For sitting idle at home? No. For earning money, for earning his livelihood, for his own sustenance. So now he has to sell his knowledge to the competent authorities so that he can be given an opportunity that in exchange of something he markets or he sells his knowledge. I am a professor, also a professional. I am a professional architect planner. I am a professor as well. Am I marketing what I am teaching? Yes, I am doing. If I don't do, then students will not be interested in my course. If I don't teach them what they need, then students will not register for my course. So the point is I have to market. Every time I'm marketing, people write papers. For what? They are also doing marketing. They are trying to let others know what they are doing so that they become known and their ideas, their concepts also being followed by others. So basically everyone is marketing. So marketing should not be considered just as a sort of rudimentary on-street sales thing. No. But when you are going for marketing, there are certain things which are very important, that how you strategize your marketing. So the next lot after 7th lecture, 8, 9 and 10, 11, at that particular time I will be discussing about marketing, various aspects of marketing and strategies, and then there is something called power marketing. Everybody does marketing, but there is something called power marketing. That means you are now forcing a marketing, and it is a very fair game. Then the power marketing strategies, and then the power marketing presentations, that when you do the presentations, then how do you really market yourself. This set, 4 sets, would be very useful for anybody, whether it's a student, whether it's a school student, college student, or somebody who is looking for a job, a student who has just graduated looking for a job, or for any person who is producing something, any person who acquired a knowledge, any person who possesses a skill which he wants to deliver. And then on the last one, week 12, I'll discuss about a very serious matter, that's called time management. See, the thing is, what happens is anything that you do, end of all depends on how you ration your time. And I have found through my experience, please don't consider me as a very good time manager. No, I am not. I am not. I cannot boast of being a good time manager. I'm quite moody at some point of time. When I know that I need to do this, I just shunt it because I'm thinking about something else. So I'm not a time manager in that way. But the thing is, when you are in serious business, then time management is essential. And in fact, it is said that your time, God has given you 24 hours a day. That 24 hours is the time given in a purse which is in your pocket. Now, would you like that somebody is taking out your time one by one? It's just like if you had 24 rupees in your purse, would you like anybody else taking 1 rupee by 1 rupee by 1 rupee out of your purse? No. So similarly, we don't realize that we have an enormous treasure endowed by God to us, that's called time, which is used for any activity that you do, but we are really not concerned, neither we are very planned in terms of how we use our time, how do we ration our time, and don't even bother to know or understand how we waste our time. So that particular chapter is going to be very important in the whole course of discussion. This set, which I am now delivering throughout this 12 weeks, basically I intend to take it forward. Each of them can be a series of lectures, each of these items. But however, I'll try to do justice within my limited time that has been allotted to me. Okay, now first, soft skill and hard skills. As I told you that if suppose I'm talking about the soft skills, I must talk about the hard skills first. What is hard skill? What is the definition of it? Basically, the hard skills is the technical and knowledge skill set. That means you have earned this knowledge. You have earned this knowledge which is basically giving an ability to you to perform a specific tasks, but it is approved by certification. The basic difference between soft skill and hard skill, I would say very clear distinction, as I do believe. The thing is, You may have a different perception, different interpretation. But what I am sharing with you is what I do believe. Anything that you have earned in terms of knowledge or skill or anything which is certified, then it should be treated as a hard skill. And things which are also skills but not really certified, then they can be kept under soft skill. But this particular line of distinction is also a little blurred. It's not a very clear, sharp line. Okay, so it is basically technical and knowledge skill set, which is giving you the ability to perform a specific tasks by certification. Now, that particular knowledge or skills which is applicable across professions, occupations and job titles. An example, to become a professor, you have to be academically strong. That means you go through a process of learning through universities. Now, the moment you are trying to be judged or compared with other professors at different levels, then definitely people are going to check your skill set with respect to the certification level, that which level of university you are from, what is the number of years that you have studied, what are the courses of studies that you have done, what knowledge that you have gathered, how many papers have you published. All these things will be now measured. That means it's very, very measurable. So, the hard skills are quite, or I would say fairly measurable. An example, see, who are generally considered under the hard skill sets? Architects who can design, and anybody can design a building. Architect designs a building, but the thing is, when you are going to get your building designed, you generally don't go to somebody who can design but doesn't have a degree or doesn't have a certification, because you think that person with a degree and a certification in architecture is a better architect or a right architect whom I can trust and spend my money on. So, similarly, doctor, engineer, scientist, lawyer, accountant, journalist, teacher. Then comes a set which I am putting under hard skill, but I am putting with a little bit of caution. Don't get confused. This now, the list that I have started is singer, painter, player and actor. Player means who plays games. If you look at these four sets, they can be trained, then they become, it goes under hard skill. But there can be a very good singer who can sing well, but he is really not contacted by anybody for singing or commissioned for singing. The reason is he doesn't have a certificate. Somebody with a God-gifted voice can sing very well, who can just copy something which he or she hears and sings exactly the way it is done. But the point is, there is a difference between somebody who has been trained with a certification and he or she is singing, and there is another person who is copying that and singing. So, this singing, the next one where he doesn't have a certification, is basically a talent, but it's not the hard skill. Painter, given a brush and a pencil or given a brush, anybody can paint. Anything that you paint is your painting. You can always claim that that's my creation. But the thing is it really authorized by everybody? Have you really gone through a course of study? Have you done Bachelor of Fine Arts or Master of Fine Arts? Have you earned that degree? If you have done, then people blindly will trust you for your hard skill. So, the hard skill as such, player, anybody can play. The quality of playing also is sometime God gifted or practiced or learned. I say God gifted because you have a talent which has pushed you to play. Otherwise, there are so many people, not everybody is playing. That means God has endowed something at the back of your mind which is triggering you to play, and then you play, then you learn the trick, then you learn the art of it, and then you become a better player than the other player because everybody is playing maybe. So, in such cases, when you are now going to an academy, then you are a player with a hard skill. An actor, again, anybody can act. The point is, when you are learning the acting skills through a drama school or through a film institute, then your that particular skill will be considered a hard skill. But if suppose you have not gone there, but still you can act, and you can maybe act better than somebody who is certified, maybe, but that will be considered as not as hard skill, that's talent. Okay. What is very important here is, when would you consider that this skill is a hard skill? People, there are many other professions, I have just given few in this, many other professions, it is not exhaustive list. When this kind of professional works is certified by some councils or associations or guild, and they only give registration to you once you have earned the degree, the certificate, then only you become registered under it. An example, for me, Council of Architecture gives us registration. They give us registration only if I have graduated from an institute which is authorized by them. There may be any other institute, maybe teaching very good architecture, but will not be authorized by Council of Architecture because it is not from a recognized institution. So what happens is, here I would say, to understand that which are the kind of skills which can be termed as a hard skill, is you look at the skill, you try to find out are there any institutions who are offering these courses, are those institutions authorized by some councils or associations or guild, and have they given the certification? If they have given, then you are really skillful. Okay. Now, one more thing, in the soft skill, what happens is, it's a people skill. Interesting, people skill. What is meant by people skill? That means how you manifest, how you really manifest. Interestingly, the soft skill is generally not certified, it's uncertified, intangible skill, which is intrinsic, which is your talent, which you have earned by many processes. I'll come to that. See, this skill of manifesting with people, which is based on your personal attributes, this is where my actual domain of the soft skill starts. It's your personal attributes. So if suppose you are trying to develop your soft skill, then in fact what you're trying is, you are trying to imbibe the tricks, the techniques, the knowledge, the arts and other things, through enhancing your personal attributes. And personal attributes which is indicating high level of your emotional intelligence. This makes it very, very important factor. To have soft skill, you are the one who is going to really do something. For a hard skill, somebody may be training you. Of course, the hard skill cannot be earned, certificates cannot be earned unless you go through a course. And in the courses, teachers teach you stipulated subjects, and that is now shared with you. You have understood. You now have to prove that you have understood by writing an exam and passing that exam. In the soft skill, there is nothing called pass or fail by certification. You can pass, you can fail, you can be somewhere in between as well. Okay? I will discuss about this more in detail.